Yeah, you can start.
Okay, fine. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about Azure DevOps. So I believe Ravi has covered lots of topic regarding how the project begins, like what are the project development life cycle and all, how deployment goes on, what are the flows, Jira tool and all, right? So today we'll be learning about the Azure DevOps. So I will be giving you the hands-on experience on creating the Azure DevOps, having organization, branch, projects and all. So first we can start with like what is Azure DevOps? These are the content for this session. So first is what is Azure DevOps. Second will be create Azure DevOps account. So this will be the live session. So I will guide you to create the Azure DevOps account accordingly, how the organization will be created, then project and branches. So this will be the hands-on session. Okay. So let's start with like what is Azure DevOps? As we know, like Azure DevOps is a Microsoft platform. So this provide complete development and deployment lifecycle support, right? Everything can be done under the Azure DevOps. It's like providing end-to-end support for development and deployment, having a code base. Everything can be done as part of Azure DevOps. It's a complete package, you can say. So these are the like this is a market leading tool platform, you can say. The first and second is AWS and Azure DevOps. So they are fight between Azure DevOps and AWS only in the market. So if you're learning this Azure DevOps, you got lots of opportunity in the market from job perspective, because if you're going for the DevOps role, they will ask for any tool specific knowledge that you have, so you can go with Azure DevOps, because here you can learn all the end-to-end flow and all, let's say the code qualities, how the code getting stored under the repository branches, the automation, the test integration, SonarQube integration, everything can be explained under this Azure DevOps. Okay, it is required as like we can use this tool as a requirement management tool, project management tool, version control, automated builds and all, reporting, dashboard, queries, testing, release management. So whatever you can think that can happen as part of end-to-end project development deployment, that can be achieved under this Azure DevOps. So this is a DevOps platform, you can say cloud-based DevOps platform. Okay, so it's like if I talk about the scenario, let's say DevOps is not into the picture. So we have some requirement that we want to develop. Okay, so now there are 5 developers working in one projects, and we got some requirement to be developed. So each 5 developer has assigned some task. Okay, so there will be some code base, right? So everyone is working on their features and all. So it's hard to maintain, right? Like, okay, one person is working on one feature, second is working on another feature. So at the end, we have the consolidation of feature at some place, right? So if you are working on your local system, but you are not pushing your changes at some centralized location, that it's hard for the developer to get what you are developing. There might be chance, let's say in one week you have done some development, and then when you try to consolidate all the code, there will be conflict and lots of other thing, right? So you need some centralized place where you can store the code. So in this area, you can say that, okay, in Azure DevOps, we can create a repository branch. It can be used as a like place where we can store all the codes and all. We can manage the version control. So if one developer is working one piece of code, then you also understand, okay, this is the piece of code that is getting developed, because that developer is pushing their changes to the Azure DevOps branches, right? And then you are creating some feature, you are taking pull from that branches and you're working top of that, right? By this way, the conflict situation are getting resolved. So this is one of the features I said. Again, the same way, if you want to deploy something to the higher org, let's INT, UAT and all, you want some centralized place where all code is present, and then accordingly the deployment can happen, the testing integration can happen. For every part, we can utilize this Azure DevOps. So this Azure DevOps is like one tool providing all the features. Okay. So any question here? Because I just want to make this session interactive. If you have any question, you can right away ask to me. Okay, because in interview level, these are the internal concept that they will ask. They will not directly go with the concept, okay, what is Azure DevOps? You will say, okay, this is a Microsoft platform. This will not be the things. So they want to listen what exact you are understanding about Azure DevOps. So you know why this is used, what all feature Azure DevOps provide, or let's say DevOps provide. the same answer will go for GitHub or Bitbucket. So there also it's a complete package, right? So that are based on some other organization. Azure DevOps is for Microsoft, right? It is developed by Microsoft. So if you have understanding of any one application, that's it. That is enough. You know all the in and out feature, right? How things is happening. So any question as of now, like on Azure DevOps part, like what is this and what are the uses of this Azure DevOps? No? Okay. So I will go to the next part. So let's start with creating a Azure DevOps account. So I just want you guys to like open any browser, Chrome or Edge, whatever you prefer. If you can directly open your browser. I just want to make this session interactive. It will be a practical session. Hello?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. So maybe you can put this URL in chat. So okay, so everyone, like whatever steps we will show here. So you need to follow same step in your system. Okay, and then you will get more hands-on experience. Okay, and here we will help you to create Azure DevOps account, and then whatever capability and features we have, so we'll explore those features and capabilities. Okay, so you people can do together, and if your people are like, maybe if you want, you can just follow us, or if you want to do together, so both things are possible. So yeah, if someone interested to do parallelly, we are sharing this end content.
I just shared the link. So it's like first we need to go to this link. So this is the Azure DevOps link that is provided by Microsoft, from where we can create a free account. Once you go to this link, you will land here. So you need to click on Start Free because I already have the account. Let me open in incognito. So you will land to this page. So you should have either Microsoft account, okay, that like Gmail, or you should have the GitHub account. You can continue with like providing a Microsoft account, or directly if you have a GitHub, you can directly click sign in with GitHub. It's based on you. So once you provide the username password, then you will land to this page. Anyone doing the things right? He or she is trying to create account.
Yes.
So it will be helpful. Let's have a hands-on experience, right? If you're learning something, only theory will not work. Let's do the hands-on experience, because DevOps demand is like you should have some hands-on experience. Theoretical things will go on, but if you're doing hands-on, it will be with you, right? If anyone want to share a screen or so, or maybe you can do it and let me know if you have any queries. If you already log in to the account and you are on this page.
So if you have completed, so you can put yes in chat. So we will come to know you have already completed. And if there is anyone like who don't want to do practical session now, so you can put no. Okay. And so we will come to know you people have created your account. And if someone don't want to do practical now, they want to do later. So we will have that idea also.
You just need to go to the link that I have shared, provide your Microsoft username password, or if you have GitHub account, you can click on sign in with GitHub. proceed with the authorization thing, then you will land to the home page of Azure DevOps.
Manish, one thing.
Hello? Yes, Avi?
Yeah, when I'm creating this account, so it's asking me project visibility. So what I should give as a project visibility?
So what option you are getting there?
Okay, let me share my screen. Just give me 1
Yeah.
minute. Can you enable this? Like in share, there will be one option to multiple participants.
Okay.
So here, when I'm trying to create with my Microsoft account, project name it's asking, so I give a demo. Then project visibility it's asking, so
Just create account for now.
okay,
And I will
then I'm
guide.
taking default one, private only.
Yeah, private is the default one. You can also take public, but for now you can go with the private. Okay.
Yeah.
For now, just create a account and let me know once you are able to land on the home page. Okay. Then I will go with the organization. Then I will let you know what is organization and all. Then we will go for the projects. Account created, fine. So you are able to see this home page, right? So you can speak instead of pinging. You can also speak if you are done.
Yeah, I see the home page.
Okay, fine, perfect. So this is your beginning now, you can say, for Microsoft Azure DevOps. So first you should have the account. Okay. In your projects also, maybe if they are starting with the Azure DevOps, like they're doing this with the scratch, definitely they expect you know everything. How account is getting created. Maybe this account part they will handle, but from here, how organization is getting created, the project is getting created, and how things go on. So these are the things which can be asked in interview. At least they expect you have some basic understanding of doing the DevOps stuff, right? From configuration perspective. Okay, now I will go to the, so how many people has done this? 2. So is anyone still doing it or all are done with account creation?
Sorry, I came a little late, so I'm trying. Do I go to Microsoft.com?
Okay, so it's like, let me, you're not able to see the ping. So you need to go to this link. Let me reshare the link.
Does it ask for credit card number? It's asking me. I tried to sign up for the free version, but it's still asking my credit card number.
Asking credit card number. So like
Yeah, that's what I did. I start free,
you
and
start
then it's still.
free, and then what you need to do, if you go to start free, if you have Microsoft account, that Outlook account, you can say, okay.
Yeah.
If you have that account, directly provide your username and password. Okay. If not, if you have any GitHub account, you can click this button. You can sign in to Azure DevOps using your GitHub account.
Yeah,
So
I
either
signed
of
in
the
with
way.
Microsoft, but it's still
Okay.
asking me for my credit card number.
It should not be the. Can you share a screen?
Okay. I have it on the other screen. 1 second.
Let me stop mine. Show me. Go to the link. Show me. If you like close the browser and then open it again. I just want to check why.
Oh,
If you go to the link that I shared, let me see.
okay. In the chat. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, in the chat. You can close the browser and reopen it and then go with that link.
Okay, okay. Let me try that then.
And meanwhile, other guys kindly confirm if you're able to create account or not. Kalyani and Salini, have you faced any such issue where you have been asked for any credit card or all?
No, for me, it didn't ask. I actually logged with Git.
GitHub.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fine. And Imran and YB, are you able to create account?
Yes, I think it took me to a different link now. So let me see.
Yeah. Because I believe you are going for Azure portal. Because if you want to create any account in Azure portal, there you need some card.
Okay. Yes, I think I came to a page create a project.
Okay, fine.
Stop sharing.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I started sharing my screen now. So everyone now like have this home page, right? Azure DevOps home page. So next is Azure DevOps organization. So you can see, right? So in simple word, let's say if you are starting some projects, okay? So that projects means like there will be some parents, right? The project, let's say if I trying to build some e-commerce website. Okay, if we talk about the Amazon, let's say Amazon is a e-commerce website. Okay, and then the organization will be itself like Amazon. Under the Amazon, there can be multiple projects. Project means, let's say some projects deals with the services, some projects deals with the marketing, some projects deals with the actual coding, the backend database and all. There can be multiple entity, right? So organization is a parents, you can say, the larger collection of code projects. And then within organization, we used to create a projects. Okay, it's like group of interrelated projects comes under one organization. The concept that you are building is called as a organization. Okay, and to achieve the concept or the things that you want, you should create some interrelated projects. Okay, so it's like organization is a parents, projects will be our child. Project can be segregated based on your work location, or you can say project location. Because let's say if I give example of Amazon, so for Amazon it is getting used within world, right? There can be like Asia, Europe, US, multiple continent are there. So all projects will differ based on the language, based on the feature that Amazon provides. Some product are getting sold in India with some different prices, different languages, right? That depends, locations and all. And in US, the language may be different, some annotation and all. Also the pricing, you can say, let's say dollar and rupees, there are differences, right? So there should be two different projects within Amazon organization. By this, the maintenance of code and everything is easy. So this is the exact like concept of organization. So accordingly, you need to create one new organization within your Azure DevOps account. You need to click on organization button. Continue. And you can provide your organization name here. Can you please do? So are you done with the organization creation? And then from drop down, you can see multiple host location. So actually these are the Microsoft Azure DevOps data centers location. It's on you what you want to select. You can either select Europe, Brazil, Canada, whatever you want. These are the Microsoft data center. So if you are selecting your projects under F4 Europe, so all the data, all the code base will be reside under Europe data center. So if there is a downtime, you can raise ticket based on your locations where your project is getting established. So for now, I just selected India as we are here, right? Can you create organization? Once this is done, kindly confirm. So you can see there are multiple organizations present here. Sometime, let's say if you're working for some client, they can have multiple organization as well. Maybe they have some other product that is going on. So they have acquired one Microsoft Azure DevOps license. Okay. And then accordingly, they are having multiple organization within the same account. And how organization is defined, I already gave the example, right? So this is done. Organization is created. It's done. Fine. Now you can provide the project name. You need to select private for now. Okay. And create the project. So here you can see inside project, we can see everything. What all feature I have explained as part of Azure DevOps, everything you will be able to see under project. You can get board and backlog agile planning, pipeline for continuous integration and deployment, repos for version control, then continuous testing, integration and all. Here you can see a project is Azure DevOps provide a place for user to plan, track, progress, and collaborate on building a software solution. A project represents a fundamental container where you can store data and source code. So under this project now actual features comes. The version control system you can get here. You can get here the Jira stuffs. All the project management you can do within Microsoft Azure DevOps only. You can have your test plan and everything. Test integration can be done. Board, your sprint planning, everything can be done within Azure DevOps. So are you able to land on project page? Kindly confirm. I will also say we will share the PPT. You will see everything written in detail. I've shared the steps and all how it will be done. So
Yeah,
how
I
to
can
create.
see few
Yeah.
people have landed to this page. Is there anyone who is facing difficulty to land on this page? Otherwise, we'll move for next part. I can see only 2% like YB and Salni has confirmed. What about others? Okay, Kalyani is also done. Okay, 3% has confirmed they have completed. Okay, Maisweta also done. Simran, you are still doing? And who else is there? Imran and Simran, are you still doing?
Yeah, do it later, Ravi.
Okay, you will do later.
I'm just following the class.
Okay, fine. And what about Simran Beer? Okay, let us know if you are not okay. You also did. Okay, yeah, nice. You can go ahead.
Okay, fine. So now you can say that now you have successfully logged into Microsoft Azure DevOps. You have created the organization, you have the project, and now you are ready to begin with your development steps. Okay, so what will be the next steps? So where you will store, the first thing that come into the mind is, so we will use Azure DevOps as a code base, right? As a platform where we can store the code and all, as a SCM tool. So first you need to create a repo, right? So before creating a repo, I want you to like explain how things happens in the real world, because everything happens based on some policies and some strategies, right? It's not only you have the Azure DevOps account and you just go and create a repos and branches. So there should be some concept, right, of creating repos and branch, because as a DevOps resource, so they will expect you to provide some baseline, or you can say some flow structure which developer will follow, because from developer perspective they are not aware about any concept of DevOps, right? They are not responsible even. So as a DevOps resource, so this will be your initial task to identify how many repos you need to create, what will be the branching strategies, how many branches you need to go on with. Everything comes under DevOps resource bucket. Okay, now if I talk about the repos, so the first starting point for code base stories, we need to create a repository. So repository you can consider like, let's say we have some stream development stream which is depend on some place. Let's say I want to create some code that is related to India. Okay, within India also we have multiple places. Based on that places, the feature are getting differentiated. Okay, and we need to perform deployment based on the places, because that feature will differ based on some places. Let's say for Mumbai, the feature that we are providing have some other concepts, some other features based on language and all, or some other things, right? If we are creating some feature based on Delhi, the location wise, the code base will be different. The basic template will be same, but other feature that depends on the places, you need to enhance that part, right? So accordingly, you can create multiple repo. You can suggest based on listening to the requirement. They have something in the mind, right? Their development approach and all, everything will be passed on to DevOps resource. So accordingly, you need to understand how many repos we need to create so that deployment will be easy. If Mumbai deployment is going separately, Delhi deployment is going separately, then what you suggest? Okay, why not have a different repository? If we have same repository, then the deployment will differ, right? If you go with one repository for Mumbai and Delhi, and we know that the code base, the dev team are different, so there will be chance that while doing the production, managing the branching strategies, you face some challenges. So in initial phase, that will be easy. You can get multiple branches, you can handle it. But for long run, we need to segregate everything based on the behavior of the projects. So what I suggest to have a separate repository based on the different release deployment. Okay. Now let's say for Mumbai, I will create one repo. For Delhi, I will create another repository. Now this is differentiated. Now how developer will push their changes, where they will commit their changes and all, what will be the branching strategies, what are the deployment approach happens, right, in real world. Because from developer perspective, what they know, okay, they got some requirement, they want to develop it. Now where they will commit it, how they will develop it, only they know is, okay, we have some feature branch, that's it. We need to create some feature branch from some dev branch, right? But DevOps guy need to provide complete picture to the management, because DevOps resource are the person who discuss with client, with architect, to understand, okay, this is your development approach. Now this will be our release management approach, branching strategies. This will be the timeline for the deployment and all. Everything need to be discussed on initial phase. At least the rough idea should be there, how the project began, right? Later on, based on the requirement or deployment release, the strategy can get upgraded, right? But basic concept should remain same. So when you go for the interview for DevOps, so they will ask, okay, so what will be your strategy? Let's say we want to occur this, we want to take Azure DevOps as a same tool, and we want some strategy. How you provide the strategy for this deployment? Let's say in 3 months, we want some deployment, and we want some UAT and INT testing. We want some unit testing. We have one QA team, test team within organization, and one test team outside of the organization. Okay, so how this thing can be covered? So everything you need to understand, we need to provide the proper architecture of that flow. Okay, let me show you one diagram quickly, so it will be easy. Let's take this up. So branches, so you can see all commits belong to a branches. So now if I talk about the version control system, and you pushing some changes, so you are pushing all your changes to some branches. So it's like, so branch is a place where all the code sits. So when you go to the any repository, if you are going with the creation of new branches, the default branch you will see is a master branch. So based on that master branch, your branching strategy starts, right? Now it's on DevOps guy, what branching strategy you want to propose for your projects. So the initial branch that you will get, that will be a master only. Okay. And here you can see, let me explain you from pointer. You can see in master ABC, let's say something is present in master. Okay, how the developer will go on from here. If we don't have any branching strategy, just understand the concept of branch. So let's say we have a default branch as a master. Okay, now if there is no branching strategy, if developer want to do some changes, okay, this is our master, that is our production. So they got some feature to develop. Let's say A, B feature already present in master, they have C feature to be developed. So what they will do, they will create one feature branch from master based on their feature, right? So they will do some development here under the feature branch. Okay. And next, again, you can see the same example here. So one developer got some feature, other developer has some bug fix to be deployed based on this AV features. Third developer has some different feature, right? They will create their separate feature branch from the master. And then once they merge their feature branch code to master, all the code will be deployed to the production, right? You can see ABC. So this is the basic flow. So I'm not going too deep, like there will be complex and all. Just try to understand how things go on in real world. It's not like we are just doing the development. your development should be traversed to INT UAT in production, right? Here I just giving one example. By default, we have master branch. If developer want to utilize this SCM tool, what they will do? They will directly create the feature branch, do the development, they will merge it. So everything will be present in the master. So this is one flow I am showing you, the concept, how things happen in the DevOps way. Okay, so any question here, like from branching perspective? So right now I'm not explaining the branching strategy. I just said, okay, branching strategy will be there, but what is branches, how this relates and all. So any question here? So
Yeah,
everything I will explain in a practical way. Yes,
yeah,
Ravi.
So I just want to add one point here. So for everyone, like first of all, like everyone clear with this, why we need this repository and why we need branching. Is there anyone who don't have this idea why we need this repository and why we need this different branching? Maybe Kalyani, can you tell me what for which purpose we are creating this repository?
So basically, if we wanted to store the code what we have written,
Yes.
because everybody will be doing their own changes in their local, so there should be an ultimate a folder where we can push our code. So that is the reason we need a central repository. And when it comes to the branches, there may be the feature differences to geolocations. So that is the reason we have a separate branches.
Yeah, correct. So you have very good understanding on this part. So I think you are from IT, so for you it's easy to catch. But what about Simran, are you clear with the concept?
Yes, I got a fair idea of that. If there is somebody making a changes to the branches, so that's how it happens.
Okay. Okay. You got understanding, but not in depth one. So Manish, I just want to buy 2 minutes. Okay, I want to share my screen.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Maybe you can stop sharing. So everyone, please confirm if you can see my screen. I open one whiteboard.
Yes.
Okay. So what happened generally in any organization? Okay, let's say we have developer one. Okay, this one is developer one. Here we have developer two, and here we have developer three. So definitely once you will work in any project, there will be multiple developers. Okay, and there will be one team lead. Okay, team lead will be there. Okay, he will assign you set of tasks. Okay, so he will, let's say he has 5 tasks in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this task 1, okay, is related to some application, like application 1. This task 2 is related to application 2. Task 3 is related to application 1. Task 4 is related to application 3. And task 5 is related to application 1. Okay. So what he did? So team lead assigned this task, like first task to developer 1, second task to developer 2, and third task to developer 3. Now you can see developer 1 and developer 3 both are working on same application. He also need to work on A1 and he also need to work on A1. Okay. So he is working on A1, he is also working on application A1, and he is working on application 2. Okay. So now these two developer 1 and 3 need to work on application A1. So how they will work on same piece of code, and how once they will complete their task, how they will put their code on same place. So in future, when task 5th will come, he also need to do on top of application 1, whatever change this A1 and A, like developer 1 and developer 3 did, on top of that task only, task 5 need to do. Okay, so they need some place, okay, common place. Okay, they need some common place, okay, where whatever work they are doing, they can put their work. Okay, so I think Cherry and Manish, don't move your cursor. It's creating some disturbance for me. Yeah. So whenever they are working, so what they will do, they will move their task. Okay, they need some place where they can put their piece of code what they have completed. Okay, so that's why this center repository concept comes in picture. This is repository. Okay, this repository is center repository. So whenever someone want to work, okay, they will pull this code into their local repository. Okay, so this developer 1 want to work on A1 application, developer 3 also want to work on A1 application. So they will pull this code in their local repository, and then whatever branching Manish is explaining, so they will do that branching and all. So that part I'm not going in detail. So that part Manish will explain again. So what they did, A1 piece of code, like for application A1 code was here. He want to work, developer 1 want to work, developer 3 also want to work. They pull this code in their local repository. They will do all their change. They will commit their change. Once they will complete their change, they will commit their change, and then they will push it back here. Okay, now after some time, maybe after 1 month, this task 5 will come, and this task will be assigned to developer 2. Okay, so this task 5 assigned to developer 1, A1. Okay, now this developer 2 want to work on same piece of code what developer 1 and 2 has already completed. So if they will maintain this code in their local system, then what will happen? They have to ask developer 1 and 3, whatever change you did on A1, please give me that change and then I will work. So that will create some kind of mismanagement in organization. Okay, we cannot rely on everyone like they will be available at that time. Maybe a developer A1 did some piece of code in their system and he went on vacation. So if developer 2 got same like task 5 which he need to do on A1, okay, he cannot wait for developer 1 to come from vacation and then he will share my code and then I will do. So this is not correct way. So what he will do? So he has already committed his change on center repository. Now he will take code from here. At this point, no matter developer 1 has left the organization, developer 1 went on vacation, developer 2 will not impact to complete his task. Okay, so developer 2, he is not impacted at all to continue his task. Okay, all the piece of code is available here in this repository. He will take the code from repository, he will do his change. Once he is done with his change, he will commit it again here. Okay, so in this way, whenever you will work in an organization, there will be multiple people working on same set of code and application. Okay, then how you will easily manage those set of code and like application? The easiest way is managing this using any SCM tool like Center Repository Management tool. So here, like in Azure, they have that capability. If you will like take license of Azure DevOps, then there we have capability to create repository, and that center repository can be accessed by multiple developers in our organization. So you need to have that access. So once you will join the company, so you will get access of that like Azure DevOps, and then you will able to take advantage of that facility. And who will create repository and all? This task will be done by DevOps person. Okay, so DevOps person will create repository, branching and all. And as a developer, you will be responsible to manage those repository, to commit your code, to pull the code, push the code. So those kind of thing you will do. But DevOps engineer will responsible to create repository, to create organization, those kind of thing. Yeah, DevOps engineer will be responsible. So that's why Manish is explaining on this part, repository and branching strategy. Yeah, Manish, you can go ahead, and hopefully this will help people to understand like why they are going through this DevOps part. So Simran, is it clear now? Okay, yeah, Manish, you can go ahead. Yeah. with your
Okay, fine.
branching.
Thank you, Ravi. Yeah. Imran, you saying something?
Yeah, I have a small doubt. Like it is, as Ravi said, developer one and developer three both are assigned with a A1 task. And my doubt is something like if at all uh, developer one has completed his task with the A1 and he pushed it to developer one and developer two, they have completed the task related to A1, and at the same time they both have pushed the code to the repository.
Yes,
Means that
correct.
means
Yes,
that there might be
yes.
missing, right? Either of them will be committed first
No.
at a time. There might be some
Okay.
conflict also,
Yes. So if
right?
you will have conflict, okay, there will be possibility of conflict. If like within this application, let's say there are 5 parts within this application, and you both like developer 1 and developer 3 worked on this 4th part together. Okay, so there will be possibility of conflict. But developer
Hmm.
1 worked on the first part and developer 2 worked on the 3rd part. So there will not be conflict. But if both worked on the 4th part together, then yes, there will be chance of conflict and you need to resolve it. So that part Manish will explain.
No, 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 no. Mani, Ravi, it is something like it might be like they have worked with for the different parts. My point is when they committed to repo, right?
Yes.
Uh, in the
Okay.
repo,
Yeah, I got your point.
it will be not having the two parts, right?
Yeah, let me explain. I
It
got
will
your
be
point.
having either one point only,
Yeah, I got your
one
point.
part only. Yeah.
Yes, let me explain this part. So here we have AB. At this moment, this repository contain A application repository contain AB. Now, developer 1 took this code, so he will get AB. Okay, and developer 3 also took code, so he will also got AB, correct? Now he did some additional change, that is C, and he did some additional change, that is D. Okay, once he will push his code, then AB is already there. What is additional? C. So C will be added here. Okay, and once he will commit his code, then what is new here? D. So D will be added. Now it contains ABCD.
Okay, so I have one thing. So Imran, so you are asking, let's say, like both working on the same part, and then when they push changes to repository, then how the code will be placed, right? So this is your question, right? If same are working on same assignment, and then how it will be pushed to repository. So this is your question, Imran? Like doing the same steps? Hello, Imran. Am I audible?
Sorry, I was speaking on mute.
Okay, no problem. So it's like,
Yeah, the same part. Like it is it might be a same part or the different part within the same application. It may cause conflict, right? That is what I asked.
okay, fine. So look, so there is one process here. So like your question is valid point. So let me explain you quickly. So on top of what Ravi explained, when let's say we have this develop branch, right? In develop branch, we have this A and B as Ravi explained. Okay. Now dev one developer created one feature branch based on this develop branch from the here, right? So now this dev one have AB code under his branch. At the same time, dev 3 has created his feature branch from develop branch. Let's consider this as a develop branch. Okay. Now he also have this A plus B. Okay. Now you are saying, now let's say dev 1 started their work, also dev 3 started their work. When they want to push changes to develop, there might be scenario, some conflict will arrive. Let's say in A plus B code only, he has also done some changes. He or she has also done some changes on A part only, apart from just adding D and C. Both have done some changes on A, right? So here your question is, okay, now one code will get overridden, right? So this is very real scenario. So the process here is, this developer, before merging his or her changes to develop, need to make sure he is pulling the change. So here is a concept called pull. Okay,
Yeah, this is something manual intervention is required here.
correct, yes. So
Yeah,
dev 1 used to do development in VS Code, any tool, right?
yeah.
So from there, before pushing his changes, he or she need to make sure he's pulling the latest version of develop R1.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that in between some code is pushed here, he has the latest version of
Code.
that code, and top of that, so that feature is developed. And
Yes,
then
yes,
when he merges it, there will be no merge conflict. But still, if
yes,
there is a merge conflict, then both guy need to understand, right, to solve the merge conflicts. What is a merge conflict? It
yeah.
means if same line you have done some changes and same line is updated by some other developer, when you try to push it, so git get
Mhm,
confused. So same line is
mhm.
updated by some other guy, you are also pushing some changes, so which is the correct file? So there the git provide the conflict, so you need
Hmm.
to manually understand, okay, this piece of line is correct or this is wrong. Like
Yeah,
whatever changes other guy done, that is not wrong, my is right, so I need to push it by solving the conflict. So answer is, you need to pull every time before
hmm.
pushing the changes. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is something we face every time in real time. Since we are into some DevOps, there is I thought that there might be some automation, something kind of thing here, so that I asked.
No, no, no. Actually, because these are the manual things, right? The
Hmm.
connection established is already done, right? If you're
Hmm.
using VS Code, this is the manual process. You write a code, you pull some changes, and you push, right? This is the manual steps.
Hmm. Yes, yes.
Okay,
Understood.
fine.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you, Mr. Ravi.
okay, no problem. Okay, now I think we can go for other concept. Let's talk about the branching only, because look, this branching strategy, branching topic is very important. If you talk about the DevOps, your 15 minutes of interview will revolve around this branching only. Either you are doing giving interview for 10-year experience, 2-year experience, or 15-year experience. They want to understand if you know about the branching strategy or not. So this is the, you can say, heart of DevOps. Okay, everything relies on your branching strategy. If your branching strategy is not correct, you will be in a proper mess. Okay, okay, let me share my screen so that I can explain more on this branch part. Kindly confirm once I able to share my screen. Okay, so again, so here normally it is written about the branch. Like branch are the primarily used for means for develop feature, giving them a separate workspace for their code. Again, this is feature branch, right? So they create a feature branch and then they push their changes. So it's on developer perspective. This branch really merge back to master. Again, I explained in previous image, right? So developer create their feature branch. They want to push their feature changes and then they need to push back to master. And then that conflict scenario that I explained, Ravi also explained, right, based on that diagram and all. And then again, you can say in this way, features are kept apart from each other, allowing you to fix mistakes more easily. Again, you can create either feature branch or bug fix branch. So feature branch is for a new feature. If you get requirement, let's say from user story perspective, if your work item is user story, it means that is a new requirement, right? New feature need to be developed. So your branching naming will be feature slash and all or underscore based on your project requirement, but it should start from feature only. And if you are doing some fixes from the master or develop based on the input from the test team, you create a bug fix branch and you push the changes to master or develop branch accordingly. So bug fix means if there is some issue with the existing feature, and you get some defect. So under the Jira or version control system tool, you used to get some task and you create a bug fix branch based on that only. Okay. So this is clear, right? Now this concept is clear. What is branching? What is feature branch? What is bug fix branch and all? Because now next I will explain you the real-time branching strategies. Okay. Any question here? No. Okay. Okay. Branch basic flow. So this is a basic flow for any project. So any project in world used to follow this process. Maybe INT, UAT will be combined because some projects believe on having only one branch for INT and UAT. They don't have any separate integration branch or environment. So this is the basic flow. I will explain you quickly. So first is you will get default master branch, correct? Based on master only, you create UAT, INT, and develop branch. So these are the empty. Let's say in master you don't have any code base. You will only get a README file and all, right? You create UAT, INT, and then develop branch. So if in your project they say we don't have any integration sandboxes. Sandbox means the environment. Then you don't need to create any separate integration branch, because in many projects I have seen they are using UAT sandbox or UAT branch as a integration and user acceptance testing. So there you only need to have one branch. But in general, there should be this flow. There should be one INT that is for integration testing, where let's say within organization, some tester will perform the testing. There will be UAT sandboxes, and for the sandboxes, you will have some code base, right? That code base will be our UAT branch. That UAT branch contain all the tested code from the internal team, and this UAT organization will be utilized for user acceptance testing, where business guy will perform the testing and all. Once they agree, we will go for the production deployment, right? This master will be the code base for our production sandboxes. So every branch will be linked with one sandbox, or you can say environment. There is develop, there should be some develop environment. In DevOps perspective, we will not say develop, we say continuous integration sandbox. Okay. INT, there will be INT sandbox. UAT, there will be UAT sandbox. Master, there will be production sandbox, right? This is a branch, respectively we have a sandbox, right? The environment, the real-time environment, and these branches are for code base only. And for development, based on the feature, developer used to create their own feature branch. They commit their changes to like develop, and from develop the INT deployment, UAT and master will occur. Let me see if I get that.
Manish, there won't be any release branch.
Yeah, there will be. I will explain that part. Okay. Normally, look, what is I will explain on next slide, Imran. Okay. Because UAT can be considered as a release branch also. Look, what is the concept of release branch? So let's say we have a 5 sprint deployment. For one production deployment, we need to wait for 5 sprint. Okay, 5 sprint mean one release. Let's say this is our expectation. So once sprint 5 development is completed, now you will say, okay, now we are happy to go with the production deployment. We have sprint 5 code. Okay, now what we will do, we will cut down one branch from that sprint 5, and we will consider that branch as a release branch, like release branch for our production deployment. Release branch means that is utilized for our production deployment. Okay. In some project, they directly go with the normal flow. After let's say sprint 5, there will be a production deployment. It means all sprint 5 code is present in UAT. So this UAT will be considered as a release branch for that project, and it will used for the production deployment. For some project, let's say there is a parallel development going on, right? Let's say after sprint 5, there will be sprint 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every 5 sprint, there is a production deployment. It means one release equal to 5 sprint. So after 5 sprint, we need to cut down, we need to create one release branch. Okay, and that branch will be responsible for production deployment without stopping our sprint 6 development. So sprint 6 development will go on. That release branch will be responsible for release 5, like I said, release 1 production deployment, and that release contain sprint 1 to 5 code. Okay, and we are not stopping next development, that is sprint 6, sprint 7 development, that will go on again. Once we reach out to sprint 10, then what we will do again, we will create one release branch till sprint 10. Okay, we will not stop the current development process, the development process will go on, there is sprint 11 will go on, but that release branch contain till sprint 10 only, right? So that will be for our production deployment, release 2. So the concept is, for any production deployment, we used to have some release branches, and that release branches will be responsible for the deployment and for the bug fixes, because that release branch also contain the code base of that production, right? And then in other branches, the further sprint code is present. So let's say in production you have some defect, then what branch you will refer for the fix in the production? Definitely that will be the release branch which you have cut down, and that is similar to our master, right? So that bug fix will go there. I will explain in the next diagram. Let's come to this diagram, then it will be easy to understand. And again, I have one more diagram based on some projects. Okay, first let's understand this diagram. So here you can see, so this is our first version, 0.1 version code present in master branch, 0.2 and 1.0. So let's say we have 0.1 version code in master branch. So what will be the approach? We will have a develop branch, right? Based on this master, a develop branch is created, right? So feature 1 is developed based on new feature branch here. Now this feature branch is developed and the PR is raised, and PR means pull request. We want to merge our changes to develop branch, back to develop branch. So PR is raised, this feature branch is now deployed to develop branch, right? Now this develop branch, we have some release branch. So here, look, here it can be considered, sometimes the release branch is considered as a INT UAT also, or you have any dedicated release branch. In some project, you cut down some branches and you say, okay, this is our release branch for the production. We don't want to risk our next development, the parallel development will go on, so we will cut down and we will continue with our current branching strategies. Okay, and then that cut down branches will responsible for the deployment. So branching strategy is very, like, you can say, complex thing. You cannot stick in one branching strategy. That depends on project wise, how the organization is behaving, how many deployment they have, what are the release plan they have, how many team are working there, how many test team are there, is UAT testing happening continuously, is UAT testing will be done weekly, like what will be the frequency of UAT deployment, what will be the frequency of INT deployment. So there are many factors that you need to consider before understanding the branching strategies. So main thing is you understand the concept. So what is release branch, what is the normal branching strategies. So if someone asks, provide some basic branching strategy, so this will be the basic branching strategy, they can start working from here, right? And later on, if you have some question, right, how we will manage that release deployment, then I have this diagram to explain how you can go with that release things here. Okay, because in internet if you go, you will see n numbers of diagram, you will get confused, because you don't want to, you will get confused because there are lots of diagram, right? So that is based on some individual perspective, how they have worked on the project. Based on their knowledge, they used to provide and draw a diagram, okay, this is my branching strategy. But that is not always correct for your project. That depends, right? It's on your mind, you need to think, you need to understand, you need to understand the behavior of the deployment and all, and accordingly you need to decide on the branching strategy. Because I can give you the example, currently I'm working in some project, right? In that project I have some different branching strategy, but in other project when I gone, so there was some different requirement, they don't have the similar deployment process. So accordingly I need to understand, do some R&D, do some analysis, what will be the correct approach for their deployment. So it will take time, you will get proper time to provide the branching strategy. Maybe 1 week also they can provide from estimation perspective, because you need to coordinate with client, you need to understand the architect and all, right? So this is important. So there is no one hard and fast rule. If I say hard and fast rule, this is only one flow, and from here you can have your release branch anywhere, right? So any question on this, because I have lots of things to explain that is remaining, so I will explain in another diagram. But from basic perspective, now it's clear, like what is branching strategies, or you can say branches and all. So why it is required, how what branching strategy we need to decide, that I will explain further. But here, if you have any question on branch and all, please go on. No? So here it's clear, right? So normally, this is the flow, you can say, deployment flow. If I take apart that release branch, this is the some project can consider, okay, the last deployed branch can be considered as a release branch for us, right? Because we can use this UAT branch for production deployment, because everything is present here, tested, and we can use this for the deployment if there is no further sprint going on. If there is further sprint going on, what we can do, we can still utilize this. How? I can explain. Let's say sprint 5 code is present here. Okay. Now sprint 6 is started from tomorrow. Now what I will do, now 1 week time will, like 1 week timeline is there for release 1, that is 1 to 5 sprint deployment to production. Now next 1 week development need to be accommodated here only with this branching strategy. How we will do that? So let's say sprint 1 to 5 code is present here, sprint 6 development is started, so developer has started creating the feature branch. Okay. Now what we can do, that sprint 6 code will be deployed till here. Okay. And until the release 1 is deployed to master, we will not do any deployment to UAT. Okay. That sprint 6 code is deployed till here. Okay. And then if there is any bug fix, again that bug fix is getting deployed from here only, from develop to INT. Till here we are getting that bug fix thing. Okay. The UAT testing is going on for 1 to 5, or any plan is going on for the deployment. We can cherry pick from INT to UAT for that sprint 1 to 5 code specific fixes. And sprint 6 code will rely till INT only. We are not merging anything to UAT. Once production deployment is completed, now we are open for next sprint, that is sprint 6. So we can go with deployment to UAT. Now UAT will contain sprint 6 code. Now till 10 it will go like this only. And again, when release 2 is coming near, we will stop next deployment to UAT, next sprint deployment to UAT. So like that, again I said, that depends. So in one project, I have provided this branching strategy and it worked, because there is very small task. They don't have frequent deployment, and this approach worked for them, because we don't want to make complex for them by introducing multiple branches parallelly. Because if you have multiple branches, it means you need to maintain that branches. You need to make sure the code base is maintained properly, the history is maintained properly. That is overhead for DevOps guys. So that's why we understand the requirement, and accordingly we provide, okay, what will be the best. If if their timeline for UAT deployment is very frequent, then we cannot go with this approach, right? We cannot hold UAT deployment for 1 week. But if in some project they want UAT deployment to happen in like once in a week, in this scenario, without having separate release branch, we can accommodate production, right? As I explained, next sprint code will be deployed till INT, and we know there is 1 week window, and for production we only need 2 or 3 days or 1 day also, right? So in same simple branching strategy, everything is achieved, right? For bug fix, we can directly have bug fix branch created from develop. We can deploy it till INT, and from here you can do the cherry pick to avoid any next sprint code deployed to UAT. There is lots of things, right? So again, you need to be smart enough to provide any solution, because many clients don't want complex branching strategy that can be overhead later on. Because I have seen in real world, if you are not like taking care of the branching and providing lots of branches, you will be in proper mess, because there will be lots of conflict, the code base will not be in sync. Okay. So these are the things that I want to explain. You can go and like listen recording accordingly, because I have lots of things I have explained in a symbol in one flow. Any queries on this? Because I will go to another diagram as well. And if I talk about this diagram, you can see this is simple flow. Version 1 is gone to develop. From develop, feature 1 is developed, right? it is again deployed to develop branch. From develop branch, there is some release branches here. It is deployed to production. Okay. Now again we have feature 2. From feature 2 is developed here. Okay, it is merged to develop, and then again it goes to release branches, and then the production deployment happened from this release branches. In between this, no other code can be deployed to this release branches. So this is very simple diagram, I can say. And there is one hotfix branches. So what is the hotfix branches? Let's say in production, if there is any defect, so what they can do, they can directly do some fixes in hotfix, and they can directly deploy it to master branch. And then we need to retrofit everything to our lower branches. That is our develop. Because let's say this hotfix is in sync with master, right? And if there is a P1 issue, the guy will directly go to the hotfix branches, provide the fixes, deploy to master branch. Now here in this scenario, now develop branch don't contain the hotfix code, right? So we need to retrofit here. So you can understand, right? We need to make sure that code base is present here. Otherwise, if you're not doing retrofit here, then what will happen in next deployment? Some code is present here and some extra code is present here. There is a chance that your production code will get overwritten, that hotfix code. So this syncing is required, that back promotion, or you can say retrofit and all. So this is very important in DevOps. So having multiple branch, it means you need to make sure you are also doing backtracking, the retrofit and all. So these thing we can automate from DevOps. But again, these are the processes that we need to follow on. This comes under developer deployment team, not only DevOps team, because in real projects, if you are tagged as a DevOps resource, maybe there will be some deployment team also. The deployment team will be responsible to utilize the DevOps platform. So whatever you have provided. Okay. So any question here? Because I will also explain on feature to develop. Like it's not simple. Directly you commit your changes to develop branch. There is also some flow. I will explain in Notepad then. So any question on this, like simple branching strategy?
Yeah, sorry. The number of branches. Do we have any criteria to decide like this many number of branches should be there, or it completely depend on project?
It completely depend on project. Look, release branch, hotfix branch. So this remains same because as I said, in production, if there is any P1 issues, you don't
Mhm.
want to go with this process, right? Like create
Yeah.
feature branch from develop, then go to INT UAT or let's say some release branch and then do the deployment. This is long process.
Mhm.
You need to go with multiple deployment. First you deploy in develop branch, then you go to INT UAT, or if any sandbox is tagged with release, then we'll go to production. On that case, we always have one hotfix branch created, which is in sync with master branch every time. Okay. And
Okay.
developer, like let's say support guys, quickly go and do some changes here, hotfix, and directly
Mhm.
deploy to master branch. So this is like hotfix. Now
Okay.
retrofit will be done. So one hotfix is required in all organization. Okay, if
Mhm.
there is a P1 issues, but in general, these are the basic branches that will be created. Develop, that is used for the development.
Mhm.
INT, that is used for the integration testing. In
Mhm.
some project, it is termed as a QA. Some project will
Yeah.
say, okay, provide name as a QA branch. QA means the
Mhm.
QA testing, the internal testing that happen. Because in
Mhm.
develop, only the small function get tested, right? And in
Mhm.
INT, this is a environment, or you can say the branches where the complete feature code is present. Now the test team can perform their testing here. They can run their automation suits and all. And then UAT is must to have because business want to test, right? They have some business tester, so they will perform end-to-end testing here based on their specific feature. Once they pass, then only you will go to the production. Okay.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
feature, bug fix, these are the things that will be utilized by developer. Must to have. Develop, must to have. INT, UAT, that depends. Some will say we will perform both internal and UAT testing in one branches or one sandbox, you can say. But many will say, okay, we will have separate QA, INT testing branch and repo, and separate UAT to not like mix up, because maybe some development is present here. The fixes will be first tested by internal tester and later it will
Mhm.
be deployed to UAT. But this is right approach, right? If they have raised some defect, first why not we test it internally in some separate sandboxes rather
Mhm.
than sharing the same branches. So these all depends on the project requirement, but this is the basic flow I can say. Okay.
Okay. So whenever we are deploying to the production, is it necessary that our whole code should be there in the master branch, or it is fine if we can develop? Sorry, we can deploy it from another branch as well.
Look, so okay, so I can explain this in Notepad. So it will be easy to explain. Let's say we have features, okay? Feature branch developed. Look, this is not only you are doing a code merge. There are lots of things. Develop, int, UAT, and master. Okay. For develop, so this is branch, and here I am writing the sandboxes, CI, or you can say environment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
INT environment. Okay. Sorry. UAT and it is prod. So branch is just a code base. So this you know, right? Branch is just a code base. It is a place where you have a code base. You can maintain a version control system, the history tracking, everything happens under branch. So it is of no use if you are not deploying all your code base to some environment. So this
Yeah.
is environment is a real world thing, right? Which our client use, which we use. If you are logging to Amazon application, that is our environment. The code
Yeah.
base will be in some SCM tool, like maybe Azure DevOps, AWS, whatever. But important thing is your code base is deployed to CI environment for this develop branch. For INT branch, it is deployed to INT environment. For master branch, it is deployed to production deployment. So as you said here, is it okay if we deploy something from other, like something from UAT to prod instead of master to prod? This is your question, right?
Yes. Yes.
So answer is whatever thing is present in your production environment, the same code base need to be present in master.
Okay.
Whatever things present in UAT, the same need to be present in UAT branch. So it's not like UAT branch will be in sync with prod. So you have your dedicated code base, right? For your production branch,
Okay.
for your
Okay.
UAT and
Okay.
INT.
Uh-huh.
So this is the way that you maintain. Let's say now your UAT environment is gone, is vanished because of some crisis. Okay, there is some issues happened, and your environment is gone now. All data is cleared, all code is like deleted from there. But you still have a code base in your Azure DevOps. You can directly do one deployment, and all thing will be ready again. There can be lots of configuration and database, everything. That is different case. But from code perspective, this is your code base. You can pick this code base, deploy to the environment. Now your environment is ready for use.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Understood. Thank you. Yeah.
Now, okay. Next is when I am saying if feature one is developed, let's say feature one, feature two. Look, here I'm explaining lots of things apart from the PPT because this is important because from I'm talking from real time experience, right? So these are the things which you will be asked in interview, which will be asked when you join as a DevOps resource. Even you are a developer and you know the DevOps concept, you will be on the priority list for their promotion or whatever because they know okay he or she know development also he has some understanding of DevOps. You will help other guys within your team. You will have a good impression within a team because you cannot get rid of this DevOps concept because in current world everything is going to DevOps way, right? It's not like you are doing manually everything. Everyone are adopting DevOps tools and all. Okay, so now comes to the topic. So feature one, feature two is created. The development happened, right? Now to merge your changes from feature to develop, there is a concept called pull request. Okay, either you are using GitHub, Bitbucket, Azure DevOps, pull request concept is same. Pull request means you create a you create a pull request from your source branch. Source branch is where you have done your development. That is feature one and feature two. Target branch means either it is develop, INT, whatever. In this case, the flow is develop, right? So you will create your PR from feature 2 to develop. Now, when you create a PR, what you will see? You will see the new changes that you are pushing to develop branch. Everything you will see in the UI. So everything I will explain in practical way, not in the theoretical way. Everything I will show you here. Okay. So this delta code you will see when developer does PR, na, they use, just a second, I'm getting. Okay, sorry. Okay, so it's like we raising a pull request from feature to develop. It means we want to push our changes to develop branch. Okay, and when you raise a pull request, you will see a file. Let me give you. I will show you everything, but just a second. This is main branch, right? Let me create one feature test one. This is created. Okay. Now let me add one new file. Class one. Okay. Done. Test one. The content. Done. So let's say this is my feature branch and this is my code, feature specific code. So to move over my changes to develop, here it is master, right? So we have a pull request concept. So this is available for all the SCM tool. Either you're using GitHub, Bitbucket, whatever. So you can see changes. So we have one changes. So like these are the changes which is present in my source branch, that is feature branch, and it is not present in master. This is the piece of code that you have written. Okay, you provide the proper title, description. Okay, and then we will create it. Now you can see it is created. You can see the file. Now let me explain one more thing. So once pull request is created, now again DevOps come into the picture. Now developer has written some code in feature branch, right? So how we will confirm, okay, this code is right or not? Maybe this is wrong. This is not as per the standard. So we know, right? For develop, we have a connected environment that is CI sandbox. So we need to write a script which will validate our feature code in CI environment. So this is our continuous integration environment. So we will not blindly trust the feature branch code. From DevOps side, we have a automation for CI environment, like all the delta code. Delta code means difference between source and target branch is considered as a delta code. Delta code is a fancy word, but only the meaning is whatever changes in between source and target, that is considered as a delta code. So class one is our delta code plus test one is our delta lines. Okay. So this piece of code will be validated in CI environment. So there will be some script running here, the pipeline and all. Okay, some pipeline will run here. Developer work is to just raise a pull request. Now he or she will just sit and will see the script is running on, the pipeline is running on. It is connecting to the CI sandbox. His or her code is getting validated. If code is successfully validated, so the pipeline will be green, then the approval process will be there. So in future class, I will show you how everything is configured. So the approval process will be there. Some approver need to approve it, like, okay, this code is already validated. Now, once he or she will approve the pull request, then the actual deployment will happen. After approval, the actual deployment will happen. So once deployment is completed in CI sandbox, then the code will be merged to target branch. So this is the process, because there is no sense if you're just merging your feature to develop branch. It means it is only present in your code base. It is not deployed to the environment. And environment is a thing that is considered as a production, right? Code base is no use of for end user or client. This is just for the development and all, to maintain the code base, the history, for backup and all. but actually the deployment is happening in the target or not. So this is the flow. I will provide you the complete diagram for that. So I will explain in future class. As you asked, that's why I explained here, because this can be easy, it will be easy to understand the branching strategies, how it happens, right? So these are the things that happen in the background, and then actual deployment will happen to the target branch. In my case, it is main, but in real world, it will be a develop branch. So developer will only raise PR from feature to develop, not into INT. This will be done separately. Let's say this feature one to everything is deployed to develop. Now in INT, all feature will go in one way. It's not like individually we are pushing the feature. So there will be timeline. Let's say in 1 week, 2 times we want INT deployment for the testing. So 4 feature branch, let's say 4 user story, for user story means one feature is developed, complete feature. Now that is ready for testing. So it will deploy, it will get deployed to INT, and then tester can start the testing, because they cannot directly test your small pieces, right? Maybe in one feature deployment, you are only adding one values based on your user story. It's a small user story. So that is a consolidation of feature that get deployed to INT, or maybe bug fix. That is different case. Okay. Again, everything, this process will be present here also. Same. Okay. Pull request we created a script which will validate our feature code. Here it will be CI. Here it will be INT. Here it will be prod. Sorry, here it will be UAT, and here it will be INT. Okay. Once everything is clear, then your code is merged. Let's say your deployment is failed and your code is merged. Then what will be the problem? What will be the problem? Then it means your code is already merged to the master, but that is not deployed to production. Then you will be in a scenario where how you will validate it. You will be in a scenario where your code is already present in master, but your code base is not present in production. Then that is very chaos situation, right? But in some application, they prefer like let's complete the code, and later on from master you will do the deployment. That happens when you are going a full deployment, like all master code will be deployed to production. But if you're going for delta, we have these steps. Okay, that again depends on the requirement, how what project you are tagged on. If you are tagged on into .NET, there is different behavior. You need to write this script to integrate with your .NET application. If you are working on a Java application, as a DevOps guys, everything is same branching strategy. Now script will be changed. Now you need to understand how you will write a script to integrate with Java application. If you're working on Salesforce, you need to think about the Salesforce, and nothing to worry, because in all the documentation, if you're working on, let's say, Salesforce application, Salesforce provide the documentation to integrate with any DevOps tool. They have a dedicated script, dedicated command line and all. Only the thing is you should understand the YAML concept, the file and all, the scripting that getting provided by the Azure DevOps for the integration. You just need to provide a command and all. That's it. Okay, that are the basic scripting. Later on, you will be asked for some automation. That is different case. That depend on the project and all. You will get sufficient amount of time. You will be tagged as a DevOps resource. You will get lots of time for the estimation, doing the works and all. It will go as a agile way only, or maybe some other way. Okay. So any questions on this? Because I'm just trying to explain everything in real time scenario, not like just going with the slides, giving a theoretical knowledge from my perspective. I'm trying to explain everything what can happen in real project, what all question they may ask. It's not like if you just go with one strategy and that will work. You should know the basic core understanding. Okay, this is the concept of DevOps. Okay, so this one example, and second one diagram, let me explain quickly. Cool. So here you can see we have a develop branch, we have a QA means INT. So I said na, some project will say, okay, we will say QA, we have a QA sandbox. Here we will do integration and QA testing. And then we have a UAT, the user acceptance testing. And on top there will be a production. So I'm not written anything about the production. So that again goes from the release or UAT. Okay. but let me explain this flow. So again, from your initial perspective, you can also present these branching strategies to your new project if you're tagged anywhere. So what you will say, we will have a develop branch, okay, QA, and then UAT, okay, and then we have production for sure. So your development will start, you can see clone branch. So it will clone from develop R1, okay. Developer will clone from develop R1, create a feature branch, and start the development, okay. And then once development is completed, he or she will raise a pull request, deploy to develop R1. So one cycle is completed. Clone, develop, deploy. Correct? Clone, develop, deploy. Multiple feature branch flow will be like this. Okay. Now there is a QA deployment timeline. So deployment team or DevOps team, what they will do? Raise a pull request from develop R1 to QA R1, do a QA deployment. The testing will be occurred here. Okay. There is a testing going on. Let's say some bug fix is there. Okay. Then what will happen? Let's say some bug fix will happen. Then again, from here, they will create a bug fix branch. Okay. And then again, do a deployment, merge these changes to develop R1 and then QA. So this cycle is gone, right? Now, everything is present in QA. Now there is a UAT testing going on. Okay. So you need to deploy everything to UAT. So from QA R1, what will happen? You can raise directly PR to UAT. But here you can see I have created one release sprint branch. So why I have done this, I can explain. So let's say Friday, Friday is my last day for sprint 1. Okay. And every time UAT will be n-1. Why I am saying n-1? N means our current sprint. Okay. And -1 is okay. Again, it is one sprint back. So sprint 1 is completed. Now sprint 2 is started and the normal process go on, clone, development and QA deployment, right? But in UAT, we cannot directly push our changes from QA to UAT. Okay. Why? Here sprint 2 code is present. So you don't want sprint 2 code to be deployed in UAT because usually it will be n-1 or maybe within week there will be some UAT deployment because you first want to test everything, the latest code to be tested in your QA branch only. And later on, once it is passed, then based on timeline, you do deployment to UAT. So that's why I had here I provided a concept like once sprint is completed, then only we will do the UAT deployment. It's like one deployment per sprint for UAT. Okay. So let's say on Friday my sprint is completed, sprint 1 is completed. Now from Monday sprint 2 will start, right? Now in like on Friday, I see in QA R1 we have all the code for sprint 1. Now I want to deploy sprint 1 code to UAT, and I know from Monday the sprint 2 development will start. So it means clone, develop, and deployment, right? It means in QA R1 on Monday, Tuesday, there will be a code for sprint 2. And I don't want sprint 2 code to be deployed to UAT because it is n-1, correct? Because that testing is required for sprint 2 code. So what I did on Friday night, once sprint is complete, sprint 1 is completed, I created one release sprint branch. I let the name like release sprint 1. Okay. And this release sprint 1 is created from QAR1. So I cut down one branch from QAR1 on Friday night so that till sprint 1 all code is present in release sprint. Now I can be on sure like okay, on Monday when I do the UAT deployment, I can directly utilize this release branch for my UAT testing and it will only contain code for sprint 1. I don't need to worry about if any next sprint code is pushed to QRN. I have the release branch here. So on Monday, I will raise a one PR from release to UAT and sprint deployment will happen here. right? And parallel development is going here. Let's say for this UAT deployment, some approval process is there and it will take 1 day, because it's not only the deployment, there is pre-deployment steps and post-deployment steps. That's why the deployment window get increased. It's not like you only do the pull request and the deployment happen. There is some manual task that need to be done that depend on the project, because for any deployment there may be some customization that is required manually to be done into the production so that your code get pushed. So this I'm talking on the real time scenario. So that's why. So the concept here is I have cut down the release branch, and this release branch is utilized for my deployment. So this, now let's say in production, I want only sprint one code. So again, this release branch concept, we have this release sprint one, this this I can utilize for my production deployment also later on. Let's say in UAT, sprint 2 code is pushed on. In QAR1, we have sprint 3 code, but in release sprint 1, we have this separate branch, right? Where we have sprint 1 code. Now in production, if you want sprint 1 code, directly we can raise PR from release sprint 1, right? And also now, let's say now if I move on to sprint 3, now it means sprint 2 code need to be pushed to UATR1. Now what I will do on Friday night, end of sprint 2, I will create release sprint 2, separate release branch. So this branch will contain code of 1 and 2. And this I will raise PR on Monday for UAT deployment. And only sprint 1, 2 deployment will be happening. And sprint 3 code is going on. Clone, develop. So you can see the path. Current development is not touched here. It is going on. We are not blocking the current development, but also we are making sure our N-1 deployment is going smoothly without any impact from the code base. The clean deployment is happening, right? No code is moving from here and there. Only sprint 1 or 2 code is going to UAT1. And now I talk about some bug fix things, related things. Now let's say in UAT, the UAT testing is going on, some bug is raised in UAT. And here we have a code base of N-1, right? Now if we directly create feature branch from develop R1, or let's say create bug fix from develop R1 for this bug fix, it means you are also having some code base of the future sprint, right? Which is not present in UAT. When you fix your code in bug fix, which is created from develop R1, it means you are doing fixes on top of the next sprint code. That is, next sprint code is not present in UAT. Then again, if you merge that part, some other code will move on. So here you can see the concept for bug fix. From release sprint, we have created one branch, that is a bug fix branch. This bug fix is for UAT defects. Okay, this is created. Okay, then from this bug fix in develop R1, the bug fix code is moved, and with normal deployment in QAR when it is deployed, that bug fix code, right? And the internal testing is conducted here. The testing is okay now. Then what I did, we can then merge this bug fix PR to sprint, and we can utilize this sprint branch for UAT deployment. So here, what we are doing, we are only adding the bug fix code to that sprint branch, and this sprint branch in sync with UAT. If we do deployment from QAR1 other, it means the next sprint code will go on, right? So here the release branch concept you can see. So this only contain the like UAT code base, and from here the bug fix is going on smoothly. Also, this is getting retrofit to the develop QAR1, because we are creating this bug fix from release, doing the fixes. First we are merging to, okay, sorry. First we are merging to develop R1, QA going QA with our normal deployment. The testing is happening, testing is successful. It means it is ready to deploy to UAT. So we will not deploy from here. What we did, we took that bug fix, we deployed this to release branch. We merged this to release branch, and then from here I did the deployment for UAT. So only there is no changes on the existing code, only the bug fix code is deployed to UAT. So clean deployment is happening here, right? Everything is mentioned here. So whatever I spoke, everything I have written here. So it will be easy for you to refer later on. So any questions? I know it will be little hard to understand currently, because this is something very not complex, but there are lots of things need to be considered. As this is our first class, so nothing to worry if you are only getting, let's say, 20, 30 or 40%, that is fine. So once you go on with the session, you will get to know more about it. Once you get the hands-on experience, okay, then you will get more on it. You will understand, okay, these are the branches and all. Once you start creating branch by yourself and all, then it will be very easy to understand. So here, as you've seen, right, I have created feature branch directly from UI. So this is one way. Second way is using VS Code's command line. So for that, I have later session for it. So we have complete PPTs and session for it, where we will provide you the way how you will like install the Git in your local system, how you will have the version like VS Code and all, how things happens in the real world instead of the UI. So UI is one approach, but from local, how you can create a feature branch, push your changes, everything that can be done from your VS Code. Okay. But if I talk about our current classes, if you have any queries on our today's topics, let's say Azure DevOps setup, this branching strategies, organization, repos, please go on and ask. And I also know it will take some time to digest. So that's completely okay, what I can say. Any question?
Yes. Let's say you create a branch from release sprint. Is there a limit how many branches you create, or do you still keep the branches after you're done, or you delete them?
Okay, this one. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
this is a good question. So uh, let's say your production deployment is completed. Okay, now let's say production deployment is completed. Now you know that we don't want our old release sprint. So you can okay and you can delete that branch. So it's like, if that branch is required for your bug fix, you need to keep that release branch. If you know that in next sprint we already created our new branches, next sprint branches, and now we can refer that branches for the UAT deployment, you can delete the older one. In our scenario, I have created release sprint 1, right? So once I created release sprint 2, it means now we don't want release sprint 1, because release sprint 2 is the branch which is used for UAT deployment, and the same code base is present in UAT. Now for bug fix, you can utilize release sprint 2 instead of release sprint 1. So you can delete that release sprint 1. Okay. And in some organization, they used to have short-lived feature branches. In some organization, they used to have long-lived feature branches. In long-lived feature branches, if they want to deploy something to UAT from feature specific, then they used to keep it as a long live. They will not delete the feature branch. Every deployment will happen from feature to UAT individual way. So here the deployment estimate will run high. In short-lived branches, the way I explained here, you can directly raise a feature to developer admin, and you can delete your feature branches right away, because all your code base is present in developer admin, and we are not utilizing same feature branches again, right? So next feature, you are going to have next feature branches. If there is any defect, you are creating new bug fixes branches. So here you can delete your feature or bug fix branches. That is called as a short-lived feature branches. So again, that comes on the requirement and all. If you're going with a short-lived branches or long-lived branches.
You.
Okay, it's clear. Any other queries? Because I can say like we're done with today's session. Okay, then Ravi, I think
Yeah.
if there is
Okay.
no other queries, then we're
Okay.
good to
Yeah.
close.
Then yeah, we are good. We stop.